The beauty of this year is that after the success of submersible focus last year, we have a full focus about the magical product at Panerai, the most emblematic product of all the Panerai world, which is this 44 millimeter Luminor Marina model, which is worldwide the signature of the brand. You have here all the ingredients which have made Panerai successful, which is a very identified product, which is the indexes, the safety lock system, the luminescence, you name it. And this year, the beauty is that we have this fireworks of innovations, the Fibratec on one side, which is very loyal to what Panerai stands for, which is this Laboratorio di Idee approach, which is close to our heart, which is one of the reasons of Panerai to exist in that watch industry. The 70 years of warranty, it's a signal to show to the world of the Panerai fan, the Panerai communities, the Paneristi, that we are so convinced about the quality of our movement, even the toughest conditions, that we can extend a guarantee from our existing 8 years, which is already a performance compared to the rest of the industry, to 62 additional years, which is 70 years. And the guarantee for the 70 years, it's the same conditions on the one you have for 8 years, on the same than the other brands you have for 2 years. So it's not limited in terms of access to the number of visits you can pay. There is no underline which highlight the fact that you are limited in potential visit of our stores to get it serviced. And finally, we have a part of our innovation, the one with Luna Rossa, because it's a partnership which is close to our heart. This partnership is bringing us a lot of added value in terms of exchange of materials, of course, sponsorship, visibility, active work and partnership with the Luna Rossa team, among which Max Sirena, who is the boss of this team. And all these initiatives are focused on the Luminor 44 Marina. Here, it's a modern interpretation of our historical model, which is today our bestseller. So here you have all the ingredients of Panerai with the Carbotec, with the Fibratec, with the DMLS. So all what Panerai knows at its best has been injected in these products. And a highlight of the luminescence, because here you see that in the night where we have been able to push the boundaries of the luminescence to the max without being too gimmicky. So the idea is to highlight the Reo on the external part of the dial. The idea was to highlight also the safety lock system, and the idea was to highlight the stitching on the strap. This is, so they are all limited editions. As you know, in Panerai, we have about 150 boutiques in the world, among which we have 3 in India. So 270 is really a very reasonable number, provided it's always very important for us to keep an offer which is in line with potential higher demand. But here you have the expression of all the Laboratorio di Idee of Panerai is able to develop. It's a basalt platform. So it's a material which is a grayish part, which I can even show you in real. If you see my camera, which is, the picture is nicer by the way, but you have it in real here. Try to have it as close to you because this is a watch I wear today. The real product is really exactly what you see on the picture. So for the first time, Panerai is also playing with B material. If you will remember, or you know Panerai very well because you follow the brand from the very beginning, Panerai has been very uni material. It was all Carbotec, or it was all titanium, or it was all ceramic. We are playing this year with B material and consequently B colored model. So here you see a good example of Carbotec on the bezel and Fibratec on the case, which gives this tonality of having a B material, B color approach. The weight, as you see here, is 70% lighter than steel. You are about the same type of resistance and weight than the Carbotec. It's a material which is used a lot in some other industries like aerospace, for example. So it's not a new material in the world. It's a new material in the watch industry. Immune to corrosion, highly resistant, with this blue dial and with these 2 straps. The first one, which is a technical bracelet, which is called Sport Tech, and the other one is a rubber bracelet. So the DMLS is a principle that Panerai has been developing 4 years ago when we did our tourbillon. As you see on the screen, it's a 3D printing technology. It's what probably the watch industry will be more and more oriented in the next 20 years. But it's mainly made for a small series like it was for the tourbillon, because we do about 100 tourbillons per year. And it was kept for the timing only for a high-end offer. And the idea here was to inject that principle on that, in a way, best practice or innovative practice, also for a more entry price concept. You are here having also, because it's associated to this material, which is 30% lighter than titanium. So you have a weight of the case. And that is all the beauty of Panerai. You know, we have large cases, we have big models. So Panerai has always been very interested in finding materials which are lighter, because it compensates the big size of the watch. Mike is a brand lover, supporter, ambassador. You can put all the names you want since 15 years. So when he is on the picture you see here is very nice, because you see him lost in the North Pole, which is probably one of his best known territory for him. And he is very much alone. He is always having as a unique mechanical instruments on him, which is his Panerai. And he does that even before Panerai entered in partnership with him. So today, Mike is a guy, of course, he is used about speaking televisions and journalists, because as you know, he is very often on televisions in many countries. But he speaks about Panerai with an angle which nobody in the organization, in the company is having. When you've been spending alone 4 months in the North Pole by minus 40 degrees, you have stories to tell, which are not necessarily the one I have when I am in Geneva in my office with a 25 degrees temperature. And when we met something like 18 months ago, he had a piece of his boat, and perhaps this is a piece of his boat which he had to replace, and the shaft, which is the bottom part of the boat. And he told me either I throw it away or you use it to make watches. And at that time I was finding the idea very interesting, but I had very few belief that it was something easy to do. And finally, our manufacturer in Neuchâtel told us, yeah, we can use this material and make 5 pieces max out of this. This is the maximum we can do with this piece. And this is how the story has started. So it's a purely story which comes from Mike, who doesn't necessarily know well the watch industry, but says, why not? And this is the beauty with Mike, is that this type of person who works closely to us have ideas we would not have without speaking with them. What we did is that we have for the first time our submersible case to this skeleted tourbillon. So the skeleted tourbillon is something we have acquired year after year in terms of maîtrise d'œuvre, in terms of how to make it, because we have already an assortment of skeleted tourbillon in the Luminor line. But the fact we did only 5 pieces made it that we tested the idea on a submersible. And it's a very big watch, because you know it's a 50mm watch, so it's really a big piece of watchmaking. And you have here all the ingredients of what Panerai is doing. So you have big size, the case, submersible. It's a Panerai ecological concept. So you know it's this new approach we have at Panerai, which is to gather all the initiatives we have in our company, which are under the umbrella of Ecologico, and which is gathering all the initiatives that our teams are having around the world to save energy or protect the environment. And here we have 30% of the value of this watch made with recycled straps, case, packaging to make it happen. So the strap here is made with plastic bottles. I have been attending a cricket match with MS Dhoni last year on Mohit, who was trying desperately to teach me the key rules, and the wife of MS Dhoni, who was telling me also how it worked and so on and so on. I've been only to one match where he played on one, but I was very inspired by the atmosphere he is able by his person to create. And I know how much cricket is important for you guys, and we saw it also when you had the World Championship last year in the UK. And this was for me what was magic to understand that sport. So at the end of the match, with the help of Mohit and the wife of MS Dhoni, I was able to understand how it worked. Well, for me, India, and you know how much I love to come and how much I appreciate all the culture, the development. It's always fascinating to see a country taking off and being so much associated to all new industries. For me, India is a country which is very important on the map of Panerai. Why? Because today, India, even with the crisis we are facing, will probably be one of the very, very, very few countries in 2020 which will still post a positive growth. I can tell you, when we see the growth potential in all the other countries, which are single or double-digit decrease for this year, India is a case apart on the map. And I believe that if you take positions now, it will be something very important for the future. The ones who are the pioneer, and you know, my strong belief is always to position Panerai as much as I can as a pioneer brand. And not because I invented this concept. My predecessor have made it happen by having, as a pioneer watch, being big one in a world of tiny, slim, round watches. We came with a big cushion case watch. So we were very much a pioneer in that sense. The retail, the new materials, the new movements. Panerai has the experiences we have launched last year. Panerai has very often been appearing as a pioneer in something. On India, for me, is for Panerai, one of the brands when we started a couple of years ago, having 3 stores today. You don't have so many watch brands who have 3 stores today in India, and which have projects to open even more in the next 5 years. So I want to profile Panerai in India as a pioneer brand because India, and you are better placed than me to know it, is a 1.5 billion inhabitants, is one of the fastest growing countries in the world. And it will take us perhaps 10 years, perhaps 15 years to become what we want to be in India. But I strongly believe we have to put the seeds, like we did since many years, on being patient. You know, this is not necessarily a quality that we all have in this watch industry, but being patient, it will pay in the next 10 years. You know, I have bought a crystal ball to give me the answer, Mitrajit. Well, more seriously, it's one of the most challenging time I ever had in my 30 years career. I strongly believe that even though the times are difficult, you have to continue to give a reason to fight every day, to yourself first, and to the 740 people of our organization. Why do we exist? And in that sense, Panerai has a strong advantage compared to many other brands, in that we are, number one, a strong brand. So we don't change the strategy because times are getting challenging. We keep our innovation developments. We keep our number of stores. We are, of course, adjusting some parameters like number of pieces we're going to produce, like the rhythm opening of new stores, like our investments in some countries, and. So we have many areas where we have to adjust our speed and magnitude of development, but we have the benefit to be, number one, a strong brand, part of the top 20 operators of watches in the world, which probably will gain market share of a smaller cake in the future, and associated to one of the leading groups of luxury in the world. So in terms of resistance, we are probably more resistant than others. Doesn't mean that we'll not be impacted by the crisis, of course not, but we have to understand that when there is a storm, you better make sure your boat is calming down the speed to be able to absorb the boat, having the sails which are getting down, because if you leave your sails up, you are with high likelihood your boat will not resist. And wait, the crisis is over. Will it take a couple of weeks? Will it take a couple of months? Will it take a couple of years? This is the only thing which we have no idea. Of course, at Panerai, we have 20 subsidiaries in the world. We have boutiques in many countries. So we have very good barometers of what the situation is all about. So today, at the moment I speak to you, we still have about half of our distribution, which is still closed. And what we already know is that, I'm not the only one, the Chinese market is back very significantly, already since about 3 weeks. Korean market is not bad. The Taiwanese market, where Panerai is strong, is also not bad. But it's only 3 countries out of a magnitude of 200, I don't know how many countries we have in the world, but something like 220 countries which exist in the world. So today, make a long story short, we'll have difficulty to have an overview, a valid overview of the market before probably July, if not September, when the other markets will be reopened. Dubai has reopened last week. France has just reopened this week. Germany has reopened 2 weeks ago. Italy will reopen next week. So we still have a map which is not representative of what our business will be in the second semester of the year. That's also one of the questions. Our market is going to be faced with a second lockdown as we had in Singapore, for example. Singapore is supposed to reopen in early June, and they closed down, reopen, have reclosed down. So we have as many scenarios as we have more or less countries in the world. I believe that all the trends which were existing before the COVID hits us 3 months ago will be strongly boosted to be in an organization more agile, more digital, more customer-minded, service-oriented, will not be any more trends, will be facts. Today, we see our digital business has increased significantly based on numbers of last year, which were already increasing a lot compared to the year before. So we see the digital approach because our stores are closed, because people don't want to be mixed with others because of the virus and so on and so on, taking a big lead. And I think that the customers will be back to the true brands, the brands which have a message, which can prove that what we do is not made for storytelling, but have true reasons behind. And Panerai has nothing to hide. That's why we open all the doors of our historical background or of our manufacture in Neuchâtel, because we have a true story associated to our brand. It's a very unusual time in all our lives, and you live that also, a few guys, because whatsoever you are in India or in Dubai, you are also faced with your computer, FaceTime, with these type of digital tools. It's a new way to work. It's a new way to think, and I believe a lot in the power of your team. But it's not only marketing concepts. It's the more trust you have within your team, the more complicity. And it's not a word which is used very often in management. The complicity that all the people do have together, which is complicity is an association of belief in the mission, trust to each other, is making your brand much more active and able to cope with challenging times. When you are on a boat, you have a storm, the team is key to make sure you survive. And we are today in this type of world where we have to make sure the brand will be paving the future. We are at our level. Our mission is to make sure the brand will still do products today on marketing concept we will be proud about in 50 years, whatsoever the climate conditions are today.